well-being is more of a challenge for young people these days?
I do think with younger people it's a bit more like confrontational, like it's quite like thrown in your face, and you sort of, there's obviously a lot more going on. Like you think as a young person that you're like the only person in the world when really you're not, and that can become quite overwhelming, I think, for a lot of people. What do you think we can like do to start like improving the wellbeing in like our workplace?
I think ACC does a lot of good things already to focus on wellbeing and stuff, but I think that's something that I'm aware of, like just as an ordinary person in the workplace, is thinking about like how can I just be more aware of where my colleagues are at, and actually taking that time to be like, hey, are you okay? And if someone's having a bad day, to be able to like maybe be like, hey, just go for a walk or take some time for yourself, and really like encourage people to prioritise their own well-being and then make the space for that.
I think with my time here so far, like with the wellbeing at ACC, like we've got a lot of systems where we can like networks, for example, like there's a lot of things to be a part of, there's always things happening as well. We've also got like, because we're such a, like there's so many different walks of life here, it's a place where it's a controlled environment that I've found, where we can all have our opinion about something, but it's still be respected, we're still all here, like which is overall, I would say, probably quite good.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think as well, like I felt very well supported by like the leaders and managers, like in terms of like you can see that they care about the people in their team and their well-being and stuff. Like that's something for me, having come from a hospital environment. What do you do like for friends, like friends at work or friends outside of work, when you can see that they're having a hard time?
I think being a listening ear is probably one of the big things I try and do, because some people just need to get it out, you know, like I'm one of those people who just wants to like say my peace of mind, and then like, I mean, even with colleagues downstairs, like would vent about something that's happened in the day, and then a couple of my colleagues always say, do you feel better? I'm like, you have no idea, I feel so much better now.
Yeah, like at the moment, like I have a friend who's going through a really rough time dealing with like anxiety and depression, and yeah, it's something that he always says, it's like, man, I just really appreciate someone listening without judging, without agenda, you know, someone who's just wants to hear and wants to be supportive rather than to help,
instead of forcing your opinion on the whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, wow, you know, it's like, it seems like such a simple thing, but something like that can have such a big impact, you know, and you think, oh, I'm not doing anything, but actually you are, just by listening and being there for someone. That's huge.
What would you do in your day to, like, if you're feeling low, or if you feel like you've got a lot of pressure on, what's something that you do to make you restart?
Yeah, well, I think I had a very good example of this yesterday, because I had a very difficult conversation with an employer that left me feeling very frazzled and stressed, and like, so I talked to my team manager, and she called them back and, you know, basically, you know, told them, put them in their place a bit. And she said, look, you should just go for a walk. And, you know, so I went out on my lunch break and went for a walk, and went and got myself a Nutella donut, and felt a bit better after that. Yeah, it was just that chance to kind of like, you know, get some fresh air, take a bit of space. And yeah, I've always found, like, for me, like going for a walk, particularly if I can get out in the bush, is something that I know is like, it just helps me to clear my mind, get all those thoughts out, and get in a better headspace. And yeah, something like a treat, you know, in that situation as well. Like,
I think it's quite important, because we are now in a place where we can actually talk about it. Like, it's been so ignored for such a long time. Like my whole, you know, upbringing would never talk about things like anxiety or things like, or depression. Like, it's always been something that's been quite ignored. And I think like having this, like the mental health week happening, it's going to be calling it out for what it is, and having people talk about it where it can't sort of be ignored anymore.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's been good chatting.
Yes, it has been good chatting.
And thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you. Ka kite.